So I was listening to a bit of Alex Jones yesterday, and I very much appreciate his warning everybody about the impending possibility of World War III and that escalation that's going on over there in Ukraine. I've made videos on this in the past. I suggest everybody go out and write to their congressmen and try to stop this nonsense. Joe Biden's a lame duck. I've already talked about this before, but this all aside, something else that got my attention was Alex Jones was talking about a collectivized consciousness and how people like himself and General Flynn were to get knowledge by some divine revelation. And I made videos about this too, and I'll very quickly tell you what I think about that. Consciousness is an individualized phenomenon. It's an emergent property of how the brain is organized. It does not expand to anybody else. So when Alex Jones talked about a collectivized consciousness, and he said that this was even scientific, the scientific part of that, I'm guessing, is what he's referring to is the fact that people can read emotional cues, and through their experience, through pattern recognition, they recognize certain patterns. There's nothing mystical about that. That is not a collectivized consciousness. Communication does not make consciousness collectivized. Communication still has to be processed by the receiver through their brain. So it's not a direct transfer of some divine, revelation, some divine knowledge from person to person, as if more than one person makes a unit. There is no scientific basis for the idea of a divine revelation or a collectivized consciousness. This, again, is Plato and Hegel philosophically. It's this idea that there is some divine realm outside of the real world that exists that, in the case of Plato, casts shadows, that there is, in the world of forms, a universal phoneness as a concept, and it casts a shadow and creates this individualized particular phone. It doesn't work that way. The concept of phone, or a smartphone in this case, is an aggregate of all the instances, all the observations made of a smartphone, that you take all of the things that are similar about it, and then you omit the specific differences, such as the physical size. Some smartphones are smaller, some of them are larger. You omit the particular measurements that would identify this as a particular smartphone, this particular smartphone. So that's how concepts are generated properly. Not that there's some otherworldly dimension that is accessed through divine revelation. When Alex Jones talks about General Flynn being ahead of other generals because, he has what he calls a gut intuition, what he's really referring to is that General Flynn, through his experience and through pattern recognition and through his intelligence, says, okay, this is what's going on. Based on my experience, this is what I think is going to happen. That's his quote unquote gut revelation. It's a subconscious conclusion, but nonetheless through his brain, through his rational faculty. Okay. So that is what's happening. Of course, people can err. General Flynn could hypothetically err. And that's in part because, Alex Jones can err, in part because of his belief that, for example, he believes in a divine revelation and a collectivized consciousness. But there is no such dimension. Consciousness is an individualized phenomenon. It is not collectivized. There is no other world other than the real world that we have around us. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that and my rebuttal to Alex Jones's claims. Not to say that he's not a patriot. He is a patriot. He's doing a lot of great things, but just to throw that out there.